Hey guys, it's Ellen here, and we're playing with some Valentines today. This one's super easy, and this one's a little bit more detailed, but very doable and easy. And I wanted to make some easy cards for you guys to do today. Like I tell you in the tutorial, you just paint the designs on nice paper, and then you can go and just slap it on some craft paper like this, and you have this really pretty card that you can give to a loved one or a friend or family member. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. If you're a Patreon member, you can download the traceable goes with this. Otherwise, I just show you how to draw it. It's very simple. And let's get started. All right, to start with, I'll go over my supplies, but I always have them in the description box. When you look at the description of the tutorial and the words underneath say show more, you just click on those words and the whole entire box comes down, and you can see all the supplies that I've used. I have two 4.5 by 6 inch pieces of Arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper. You would probably not need it for the first one, but the second one you would need it because you want a nice good bleed kind of paper. I'm going to show you how to draw the word love out, but if you're a Patreon member, you can just print out the traceable. If not, whatever. And I'm only using like a sheet of the good paper, so that if you want to save money, it's very heavy too to fold this paper and ship it out or send it out. You just put it on craft paper like this piece of red. You just glue it on that, so you've got the nice watercolor paper on the craft paper, and that's how you can save some money. And it wouldn't be so thick to fold as well. It's not really meant for that. So, the word love, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Basically, you're just going to be drawing the L, O, V, and E. See, we can't see that. I'm sure you can see that. And so the O is going to be a flower. And I just drew in a rose. See, squiggly rose. But we're going to paint it. So painting it is much easier than drawing it. And then for the L and the VE, it's kind of like a vine. You're putting these leaves here, and then a little flower here, maybe a little flower on the bottom, and the same thing here. And then same thing on these other ones, but for the E, I put little flowers in each little, the cross lines, and then I put the vines going with the leaves. It's pretty simple. And you could just do like little branches with little buds. Just, tap in little, but showing you how I painted is much easier. So it's just drawing like little vines. I'm sure you've seen things like this out on the internet, but I have one print that I did years ago that's kind of like that. Or you could print out, you could type out on your computer, with the words LOVE like this, and just whatever type you have, maybe it's times like this one, you can just paint inside that. You can trace the letters that are thicker like this, just giving you a quick little rundown here, and just paint inside here. So anyway, that's the first one. The second one is simple hearts, straightforward, but they're going to overlap, so they're like layering and translucent, so it's more fun. So the first one, of course, I've kind of sketched in my rough LOVE where I want the placement to be. Not that I'm actually going to follow through with it. I'm just going to put the big rose here, and then the words. I'm going to erase some of this. The vine. You could start off doing the rose first and the vine second, or vice versa. The rose can be a red rose, a pink rose. I think I'm going to make combination of both, actually. Or a blush rose, So I have my quinachradone magenta. I can't say this word, and I'm just, don't even ask me to. And I'm going to mix my cadmium yellow deep, and it makes like a nice red. See, right now it looks a little orange, but you get more magenta in there, and look at that. Red. 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 And then a little pinky red. And it's pretty thick. So I'm going to get some more water in here and loosen this up. Or I'm going to show you again how to make a nice loose rose. So you've got this paint here. I like tube paint because tube paint, it's already wet. If it dries, we can just reactivate it and spray it. But like I kind of come out of the gate using the tube paint. I just like it, the consistency of it. So it's hardly any water, a little bit of water on this one. And we start by making, I'll zoom in a little bit. There's little lines that are curved, and then curved, leaving space in between. See, I'm curving these lines like that. Curve, 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 and curve. And it's really dark and thick. Now you're going to clean off your brush. You're going to leave water on your brush. And you just, and by the way, I have a Princeton 8 long round Velvet Touch Series brush. Again, all the brushes and the supplies are in the description box. And see, I have the water on the brush. I'm just going to push it from the tip outward. Just like this. Make that rose. Clean up my brush again. Now I want it fairly big, so I'm kind of pushing the paint really out in the circle. And I can always go back in and add some more color if I feel like the rose is not quite big enough. So I'm going to go back in here and add some color to the side. See, but I'm doing this curved motion of the petals. Just like this. You can still take the paint and go like this on the outside, put those curved petals in. And while it dries, I might go back in again. I probably most likely will go back in again. And then add in some more tones. Sorry, my brain is just brain fog. It's so very foggy these days. And then go down to color, darken the back, see? I grabbed that dark color, went in the back. I'm trying to make this rose pretty big. And it's kind of flattening out where I'm not too happy with it. I'll go back in again and put in a layer of color on it. But that's how I would start it. So while that's drying, go zoom back out a little bit. I have various greens. I have the olive green watercolor, but I have olive green gouache, which I love as a bright color. And you could just water it down, and look how bright and pretty that is. I could add the two together, just to dull the green down a little bit. I could still use the same brush because it's a great tip. I can go for the number 4, which is a long, skinnier tip. I'm going to grab some of this Van Dyke brown, mix it in a little bit. Now, for the V, I'm just going to start by making that line here. I have a little bud flower coming here and a line here. Simple as that. Scroll in, and we'll just make simple leaves. So it's curving, connecting to that line that we put down there. Just like that. And in between that, we could put some stems with some buds. You don't have to make those leaves perfect. See, I kind of changed them up a little bit. And I'll go like this again. Still using the same brush. It's got a good tip. So I can get really pointy if I want to. Or not. We're just making these simple leaves. This is not rocket science. This should take you no time at all. Doesn't require extra detail if you don't want to put that in there. Again, I'm going to clean up my brush. I might make this rose a little more pink or blush. So I've got that magenta. I'm going to lighten that up a little bit and add a teeny bit of that yellow. A little on the pink side. So same kind of premise if you want to make it loose. Just got a little water on there. See, I'm making more of those lines going around. And I'll clean up my brush. And I'll kind of push the paint around a little bit. Just leave little white spaces in between those little buds. I can go back in. I'm going to grab some of this crimson and just dab in some darker tones right on the edge and the inside. Because it's already damp, it should bleed out nicely. Really simple. I mean, it doesn't have to be pink, by the way. It can be any color you want. I'm going to grab more yellow. I want a more blushy color for the top one. Just making this simple rose. It's just leaving some white space around. I could do a little tiny one here. Drawing I did was a little bit different. You want to kind of vary. You could have all the greens the same, or you can vary them, make them more, have a variety. Since I did some blush here, I want to do a diagonal blush and a diagonal pink. So I'll do the rose. Again, I'll just do these little, as you see, leave a little white space. It's like curved lines going around, leaving a little white space. Just like that. I'm gonna put blush roses on this one. And I'll go back in and add some deeper tones. Just putting that flat, small layer color down. I'm gonna go in and grab some more magenta and yellow. Get the blush a little darker. And I can just tap that in the middle. See, I'm just doing these little taps. It's more concentrated paint, it's less water, and it should bleed where the rest of it, up in here too, was wet. Zoom back out, sorry if you didn't see that. Basically the same thing with all three of these. And I'll just grab that green again. See, we're doing that E. Sometimes it's just easier to paint the lines. You need same thing with the V. And then go back in and fill it all in. I didn't do the flower there. I can go in and grab the pink rose. And they don't have to be roses. They could be whatever you want it to be. Sunflowers, daisies, even hearts. I'm just kind of making these little wiggly roses. And I'll go in here again. If you want to change up your green, you can do that. Add a little blue to it. Just making these simple leaves. I will go back in some of these and add another tone of green and maybe some stems just to change it up. Like the sketch has more full leaves. Get a little darker in here on this bottom one, you can see. It would be nice on the ends of the E or the V, even the L. You could put another little bud, little sprays. I'll show you those in a second. Just gonna flesh in my leaves. If you want to get really technical, you could put in the leaves and add a darker tone. Let me grab this just to show you. I'm mixing some Prussian blue in with my green. Teeny bit of paint, water. And just kind of tap it right in this bottom area of the leaf while it's still damp. And it just bleeds. See how I just added like that extra oomph dimension? If it's dry, you can still just go in and tap a little dot. See, I'm just tapping a little dot kind of in between that. See how much it just changed that up? Going back in here and grabbing that green tone, light green leaves. Just gonna fill these in. You know, I don't want you spending a million hours doing simple cards. Just really paint these leaves in fast and go in and grab that dark green and just hit that middle part. And you'll see how it bleeds out. And then even grab that dark green color and kind of put it towards the end if you wanted to. Oops, not cooperating. So it just grounds that one. You can put little sprays of darker leaves in here. just to give it a variety. Like I said, it doesn't have to be leaves. It could be branches with little buds on them. See, I'm adding in some darker leaves in this one. Just want a little fuller looking kind of. I might go in and add some in here too. Especially around the rose. You can add little greens right out here. Just highlighting the rose more. You see that? You can grab some brown, like Van Dyke brown, and make little branches coming from the V. See, I have little branches in between the leaves. Same thing here. And what I'll do is I'll add some buds to those branches. And that's just taking any color that you have, the pink, the green, the green, the pink, the blush. Just basically putting little dots, little buds, connecting to the little branch, almost like a berry. Just simple like that. You don't have to go too crazy. I didn't put some branches down here, but I could just add the buds. It's just gonna add a variety. Now I can just go in here and grab some of the darker pink and go in the center and make those little lines come out. Just gonna make that rose come alive. And this one too, remember, we kind of just dried flat and ugly. I go back in and just take this brush, and you're going to do this swooping curve movement like that. Just like that. Get it even darker still. Gonna grab some crimson. Swooping curve movement. I kind of like to keep my roses like darker on one side and lighter on the other side. It's kind of like what I like to do. So I'm gonna lift some of that and add a little bit darker, but not too dark on this side. See how I just swooped that? You could add leaves to this rose. You don't have to. Go in the center and add some yellow. And then again, swooping this little, just adding some darker tones to that bud. But pretty much that's kind of it. I mean, I don't want to go too fancy and crazy on this. It's just really simple, you know? You can go in, like I said, the greens, and add some darker tones again, and another layer of greenery. If you want it to look fuller. It all depends on how you want it to look. But I really just wanted to keep it on the simple side for now. I'm going to zoom back out. And I might actually go back in and even put another layer of dark pink on that rose. And I'm just going to keep playing, kind of fussing a little bit with the leaves. Adding in some darker tones. Like I said, keep playing around with it until you feel like it's complete. We can put that away for now. We're going to work on the second one. And these are just simple hearts. Now I've kind of just sketched out where I want it to go. But you can do wherever you want it to put it. And we're going to be layering them. So we're going to just grab our pink or our red. I'm going to make that red again. So we'll put one down here. I'm going to put the first one down here. Kind of down the side. I think when you're doing a composition for anything, you have to figure out where it's going to go. Is it going to just be like on one left side, on the right side, in the middle, or cover the whole thing? Kind of choose that way. or just all on the edges. So this paper is good for this particular exercise and technique, but you have to let each one dry. Since I already sketched out where mine are going to go, I can do the second one. So I would have another color here layer on top of that one and vice versa. I'm going to have this more pink and paler. So I have just magenta itself and watering this down. I have one up here, fairly light, very light pink. And it doesn't have to be pink, it could be yellow, it could be purple. But I'm just working in those color tones. So I did one here and here. And I'm probably going to put another red one, little teeny one coming out here. And we'll have to let these three dry before we can go on to the next round. That's what we need to do. Just simple hearts. We just painted in our little hearts. And we're going to let these three dry and come back. Okay, once it's completely dry, then we're going to make a medium pink. I'm going to grab my magenta, get a little bit darker. A little bit brighter, actually. Some water. And we're going to go over both of those hearts. Okay? Just to make sure I'm doing it right, I'm going to just make sure I pencil in where I want it to go. This one looks a little small. Here we go. Okay. So, I'm going to cover over both those hearts. Just like so. For our layering. I'm going to water this down. I only hit like a little bit of the edge. We're going to go back over each one of these again. You'll see. You could have come in a little closer on this middle one that I'm doing, but you get the idea. You see how when you go on top of that one, it gets darker? So we'll do another one on here on the bottom. Going to put one in here. I didn't draw it, but I'm just going to put it in here. This is when the paint should be loose, not too concentrated, pretty loose. You go on top of another color. Goodness, why isn't that wet enough? You want to mix up enough paint. So you're not like me, scrambling to get the paint in there. Okay. See, and it's over the red, it makes that red part darker. It's a layering technique. You can do that with flowers, whatever. For an example, we'll do a blush color. I got a yellow, put the magenta. Pretty blush. Or if you want a purple, but you put the blush color up here. It's going to change when it hits that other pink. You're going to see the layer come through. If it doesn't, then we can wait till this dries and go in over on the pink again until the pink comes through. So maybe that was a little too dark. And I should have made it a little bit lighter. But I'll just make this green heart. See, this one went over this one. I'm going to have to go over that one again. But it will come out like this. See, you can see the darkness and lightness. Take that same magenta one. And do another little, trying to crisscross this one. So you get the little edge there. It's fun. It's fun just to play around with the translucent paint. Watercolor. See, it's got to be wet, really loose. Not super loose where you can't control it, but loose where it's going to make that layering technique. So it's darker on that one. See? It's just fun. Very simple, pretty to do. So this one, oh, still wet. I'll go back in when it's dry. You could even just, like I said, you can make lines inside of them. Keep it this simple. Go back in and grab some of this red. Make a red. You could play around with adding, it might bleed if I do this, but a line right through both of them. You know, change it up. Polka dots, whatnot. And I would take the line itself. And you can just do a line heart, an outline heart. Like that. Doesn't all have to be these translucent flat hearts. Just have fun with it. Do another one over here. This is so easy. If you can draw a heart, you can do this. Now see how this one just faded in the distance? You might want to just go back in and grab your magenta again. I'm going to grab this, water it down. I just paint right where they would meet, two would meet, for a nice cool look. And here too. That's all you do. Again, here too. Make it a little bit darker. Have fun with it, guys. I mean, I'm showing you kind of like, this one's really like really simple. And you could put little teeny ones inside the bigger ones. And more lines, whatever, you know, play around. Grab some crimson, another line, heart. I don't want things too complicated. Going back to the first one. So as I'm looking at it, I'm looking, you know, I step back and I looked at my card and I'm saying, I think my love seems a little skinny. So I want to add just a few more greens to come out. I want it a little chunkier. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to add some darker greens. I'm just going to pull some of this out here more. It's just going to make it fatter. See, I add some darker leaves. Different tones. Put some leaves next to the rose here. I just feel like they could be a little fatter. Put some more sprays here. You know, judge how you want them to look. Going in and just making those leaves just a little bit bigger. Give it some more oomph. Playing around with that. I want it to feel lush, not stagnant. So I'm going right back on top of some of my leaves and then adding some other ones. Feels a little more lushy, if that makes any word. Gonna grab some darker green and add some dark green leaves in between some of these lighter ones. It's always good to step back and step away. And you know, it's just a card. Don't overthink it. I might be overthinking mine right now at this point. You know, I can do that too. I like the variety of the two greens though. So I step back and I'm like, oh, looks a lot better. Still even down this V here. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. A little more fuller. Okay, I think I've overworked it enough. So if you have any questions, please leave in the comment section. If you're a Patreon member, you could download the traceable. If you're not, you can go check it out. The link is in the description box. I have exclusive tutorials there on Thursdays for Patreon members in the mid-tier and up, and traceables for everybody else. You know, just another place so you can go, people go and help support my channel. You know, we never know if YouTube might get shut down one day, and so Patreon is a place where people can come and still support me, and I appreciate it so much. So again, guys, happy painting. Don't overthink it. Just put some paint to paper and enjoy, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon.